Shabbat Shalom, Kol Halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Bahashim Kodash. Double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops of GMS, including the elders that came before them that taught us this truth. And Shabbat Shalom and salutations to all the brothers out pushing the word of truth and in sincerity in the hopeful elect tabernacle of David. I'm the brother Yashawan, back with the WW3 Daily update. Shabbat Shalom and salutations to you as well. All right, so we're going to let Dina Calmetta deliver the update since she's so good and thorough. We're going to read a couple of these different versions of Joel 3 and 9. Start with the King James. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Now, who's saying this? God. The Lord judges the nations. I will sell your sons and daughters into the hands of the people of Judah, and they will sell them to the Sabians, to a distant nation. Indeed, the Lord has spoken. He's about to speak again. Proclaim this among the nations. This is God. Proclaim this among the nations. Prepare for war. Say to the nations far and wide, get ready for war. Proclaim this among the nations. Consecrate. All right. Prepare for war. Prepare. Proclaim this among the nations. Prepare for holy war. All right. Call out this message among the nations. Set yourselves apart for war. Okay? Proclaim this among the pagan nations. Prepare a war. Okay? Say to the nations, get ready for war, be eager to fight, line up for battle, and prepare to attack. This is what God is saying to who? To all the nations, to their armies. All right? Proclaim ye this. Announce this among the nations. Prepare yourselves for war. Are we watching that right now in real time? Of course we are. Of course we are. What does it mean? Declare this among the nations. Among all the nations. What does that mean? World War III. That's what it means. All right. Announce this to the nations. All right. Sanctify a war. Stir up the mighty ones. I want the word all. I don't think I'm going to find it. Let's say this to. I'm going to have to go back to 2 to find that. Let's see. Yeah, I can find all. Okay, good enough. So God is doing what? See, when people say that, oh, well, it'll calm down. Oh, the war in Ukraine, it's going to calm down and we're going to start doing trade with Russia again and it'll calm down. It's not going to turn into a nuclear war. No. What you don't understand is God is doing that, right? For his purpose, right? He is whoever doesn't want a war, he's going to make them, he's going to harden Pharaoh's heart, if you will. So they don't have a choice. That's what we're watching. Okay? So this is Dina Amelia Calmetta, right? 1 hour ago. U.S. to bulk up Pacific military. What does it mean to bulk up? It means call out your mighty men. Prepare for war. Bulk up Pacific military presence means we're going to expand what we already have over there. Iran stationed warships in Panama, that's right up there, down there in South America, in Panama Canal. So you see how this is all over the world? Iran stations warships in Panama Canal. What? Where's Panama? Right? Well, that's between Mexico and South America right there. Russia and NATO tensions. All right. So this is an update. She's gonna call it an update. All right. Take it away, Dina.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. It's Dina Calmetta here, and for today's show, I'd like to bring you a quick update in regards to some headlines that have occurred during the week. And so I'd like to start with this first headline in regards to China. The United States and Japan have labeled China an unprecedented and the greatest challenge as they move to strengthen their alliance. Japan's prime minister, at a joint news conference with Blinken and Austin, stated that China presents an unprecedented and greatest strategic challenge. Its foreign policy to recreate international order to serve its self-interest is a grave concern for Japan-US alliance and for the whole of the international community. Austin praised Japan for what he called bold decisions in revising its post-World War II defense strategy.
Now, isn't it funny that the United States is fighting everybody? Right? They're in Eastern Europe. They're in Southeast. They're in the Southeast China Sea. Right? They're in Korea. They're in Syria. They're everywhere. You understand? Why is America fighting there? They're in Taiwan. Why is the United States taking on more than they can handle? What happened to ancient Rome? Well, this is modern day Rome. Okay, it's going to
Build up its offensive capability. He said that it is a shared commitment to uphold the rules-based international order and strengthen resilient partnerships around the globe. He also announced that for its part, the U.S. would configure the 12th Marine Regiment into a littoral regiment that's more lethal and more agile and more capable over the next 2 years. He said that we will equip the new formation with advanced intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, as well as anti-ship and transportation capabilities that are relevant to the current and future threat environments. Now, the Daily Caller is reporting that the U.S. and Japan are set to agree on restructuring the U.S. Marine Force stationed in Japan to give them more firepower and the ability to quickly respond if China attacks Taiwan.
Call out your mighty men. Prepare war. Are we watching this? This is jumping right up. Well, there have been many wars. No, nigga, not like this. Not like this one. Okay? They only had atomic weapons in the last war. What do they have now? Drones. Okay? Robots. They had no damn robots in World War II.
Strategy will arm their roughly 18,000 Marines deployed to Japan with missiles that can reach the Chinese mainland and increase their maneuverability if they are called upon to defend Taiwan from a Chinese invasion. The U.S. is looking to diversify the number of ways its forces can target China, mixing and matching how ground, air, and sea-based weapons attack the adversary's ground, sea, and sea asset. To fulfill that goal, the U.S. military will equip Marines with ground-launched anti-ship missiles. Now, in addition to Chinese threats, the U.S. is working with South Korea and Japan to strengthen their trilateral cooperation against North Korea's reckless provocations, according to Secretary of State Antony Blinken. He said that in the face of the DPRK's unlawful and reckless missile launches, including the launch of a long-range ballistic missile over Japan in October, we are deepening our trilateral cooperation with the Republic of Korea to deter and, if necessary, defend against aggression. The Japanese foreign minister stated that with our positions perfectly aligned, we agreed to continue to work closely together in responding to the North Korea issue, including the pursuit of immediate resolution of the addiction issue. Blinken stated that these new strategies make clear Japan's commitment to invest in enhancing its capabilities, to take on new roles, and foster even closer defense cooperation with the U.S. and our mutual partners. Now, in addition to this, as I recently reported, the South Korean president said that his country could develop its own nuclear weapons or ask the U.S. to deploy them on the Korean Peninsula if the threat from North Korea grows. The prospect of South Korea, a non nuclear state, acquiring its own weapons threatens to destabilize nuclear disarmament efforts and inflame already high tensions with North Korea. Mr. Yoon went on to state that if the issue becomes more serious, we could acquire our own nuclear weapons, such as deploying tactical nuclear weapons here in South Korea. But it is important to choose realistically possible options. The South Korean presidential office released the remarks on Thursday, stressing that there had been no change in the country's policy of abiding by the Non-Proliferation Treaty. The presidential office stated that in order to effectively deter North Korea's threats, our government has been focusing on strengthening the U.S.-South Korea extended deterrence. Finally, it reports that South Korea right now is protected under the U.S. nuclear umbrella, an agreement that says that Washington will use its nuclear weapons to defend its ally. The U.S. withdrew its tactical nuclear weapons from South Korea in the early 1990s under a disarmament deal with the Soviet Union, and Washington has rejected calls to redeploy them. In the meantime, the Chinese military held large-scale joint combat strike drills, sending warplanes and Navy vessels towards Taiwan. The exercises coincided with the visit of a group of German lawmakers who landed in Taiwan on Monday morning. Now, apparently, Taiwan's defense ministry has been monitoring the Chinese warplanes and Navy vessels on its missile systems. The ministry stated that China's actions have severely disrupted the peace and stability in the Taiwan Straits and the surrounding waters. Over the course of the 24 hours, China's army flew 57 warplanes and 4 ships towards Taiwan, and 28 of those planes crossed the median line at the Taiwan Strait. Finally, it reports at the end of December, China sent a record of 71 planes and 7 ships towards Taiwan, the largest such scale exercise in 2022. So without a doubt, some serious tension centering around China, Taiwan, the US, Japan, and North Korea. But what is happening with Russia? Well, it's been reported that a Russian warship was spotted carrying the unstoppable 7,000 miles per hour missiles heading towards the UK. The vessel is armed with the Zircon hypersonic missiles, a relatively new weapon in Russia's arsenal. Putin has previously stressed that the missiles had no analogs in any country in the world. Norway's armed forces stress that though the warship is legally in international waters, they have closely monitored any movements. And apparently the purpose of the military exercise was to test the air defense circuit, air and electronic lightning systems, anti-aircraft fire systems, and tactical camouflage electronic warfare systems and air defense circuit control systems. According to the commentary, the tasks were achieved, and the warship is ready to repel air attacks from different altitudes and directions. Russian media said that missile tests would be carried out during the current voyage without saying at what stage. Finally, it reports that Moscow has boasted that the warship is the most dangerous enemy of surface ships in the world's oceans, stating that no one will see the missile launch or its flight. They will only see when the missile hits its target. Now, with that said, the Kremlin has stated that the US and NATO are already taking part in the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine, although indirectly. According to spokesman Dmitry Peskov, he said that both NATO and the US are definitely taking part in this conflict. He went on to state that de facto, they have already become an indirect party. The US and its allies, including the NATO nations, pump Ukraine full of arms, share technologies and intelligence data. Their involvement in this conflict is obvious. He also went on to state that we see that increases in military supplies come on a daily basis, adding that increasingly more powerful weapons are getting delivered in larger quantities as Western nations intensify their training of Ukrainian troops.
Now, do you think that Russia is going to continue to allow that? All right. So the ground is freezing, right? In the process of freezing, so they're going to launch their offensive very soon, and we're going to see this thing escalate out of control, right? And we're looking forward to it.
This is nothing but the indirect involvement of those nations in the conflict. He added that Moscow thoroughly records all such developments. Now, with that in mind, it's also been reported that Ukrainians will start training on the Patriot missiles in the U.S. as soon as next week. And Canada will acquire the NASAMS air defense system from the U.S. to give to Kyiv. Now, with all of that said, and finally, it's also been reported that Iran's Navy is set to station warships for the first time in the Panama Canal, a critical trade route in America's backyard that has never before seen an Iranian military presence. The commander of Iran's Navy stated this week that his forces will establish a presence in the Panama Canal later this year, marking the first time that Iran's military has entered the Pacific Ocean. Iran in recent years has placed a greater focus on moving its military into Latin American territories as it strengthens relations with anti-American dictators in the region, most notably in Venezuela.
Did you hear that? I'm going to play that again. All right. Well, Iran's Navy has never been over here, but now they're over here to strengthen their what? Ties with anti-American. This is called World War III. Listen closely to what she says.
Now, with all of that said, and finally, it's also been reported that Iran's Navy is set to station warships for the first time in the Panama Canal, a critical trade route in America's backyard that has never before seen an Iranian military presence. The commander of Iran's Navy stated this week that his forces will establish a presence in the Panama Canal later this year, marking the first time that Iran's military has entered the Pacific Ocean. Iran in recent years has placed a greater focus on moving its military into Latin American territories as it strengthens relations with anti-American dictators in the region, most notably in Venezuela. Iranian vessels have docked more frequently in Venezuela as Iran's hardline regime seeks to prop up the dictator Nicolas Maduro. These moves are meant to provoke the U.S. and signal that Iran has the ability to station its military apparatus a stone's throw away from U.S. territory. Joseph Humir, a national security analyst who focuses on Latin American issues, said that Iran has been laying the groundwork for this type of voyage for holding joint exercises with allies such as Russia and China, the two nations that have also been strengthening their ties with Latin American countries. He said that this is what Iran has been building in Latin America for the past 30 to 40 years. Iran's goal, he said, has always been to have a military presence in Latin America, so it's not surprising at all for its Navy to announce it's going to make moves on the Panama Canal. This is a tremendous escalation, he said, if it does happen. Many people may discount Iran in terms of its capabilities, but I would not discount it, because they have been building this for a very long time. So that right there is some very interesting news in regards to Iran. But in a whole, even in this short video, we have a lot going on. And as always, I will continue to keep you updated.
A lot going on. What does a lot going on mean? It means this. It will end. We'll end on this. Revelation 11:14. The second woe is past. Second woe, World War II. And behold, the third woe, World War III, cometh quickly. All right. There's your update. We'll see you next week. We hope that the elect, you brothers and few sisters, were edified. With that, we're going to say Shabbat Shalom.